This is how we left off our form when we created a blank one from scratch. Google Forms will automatically put in a first question for you. We're going to change this question. I'm going to click right inside of it to open up the question properties. Right now, it's defaulting to a multiple choice question. All the way on the right-hand side, I'll click the drop-down next to multiple choice. Here's where you can really see how powerful Google Forms is. These are all the choices of form types of questions that you can ask. There's short answer questions. You can add a paragraph so that somebody can put in a large block of text. You can have multiple choice questions, checkboxes, a drop-down. You can even upload a file, for example, for a resume. A linear scale of choices, which is fantastic if your form is a rating system, such as 1 to 5 from worst to best. You can have questions that's a multiple choice grid, a checkbox grid, and finally, you can even have choices based off a date and time, such as a calendar picker. In this case, I'm going to start my application with some very basic personal info. So I'll choose short answer for the first question. I'll click inside Untitled Question, and now I'll write name. I have nothing to change in the short answer text field. And if I notice below the field, I can hover my mouse over this icon to duplicate the field. I can also permanently delete it by clicking the trash can icon. I can toggle the required switch on. This means that people cannot submit the form unless they fill out this question. Finally, I can click the 3 dots next to required. These choices are going to change based on the type of question that you're answering. For a short answer question, I can add a description, that is, some helper text, if it's a confusing question and people might need help answering it. I can also add a response validation. This will allow me to specify the format of the reply, such as making sure a phone number is properly inputted. I'm happy with this question, so I'm going to create a new one. I'll click Duplicate because it's also going to be a short answer question. It's going to create an identical one below it, and you'll notice now that the name question has a red asterisk next to it. That's because we made it required. I'll type in address for this one. You'll notice that it automatically switches to paragraph because Google Forms is smart enough to realize that an address may be better served by giving the user some more room to answer. I'll do one more and call it email. For email, I could put in response validation. In the drop-down, I'm going to make sure that they put in text that contains an @ symbol. If the text does not contain an @ symbol, I'm going to put in custom error text. That's how easy it is to use data validation to make sure that you have a nice, cleanly inputted form. Let's add some more questions without duplicating them. To add new ones, all the way on the right-hand side, click the plus symbol. This is how you can create a new question at any time. For this one, let's choose drop-down. I'll click the down arrow, and this time I'm going to choose a drop-down list of choices. I'm going to add all of the hours as options. I could click the suggestions to add all of them. I can also make them a different range of choices. At any time, I can delete an option by going all the way to the right-hand side and clicking the X. I can also rearrange these choices by hovering my mouse over the 6-dot grid, clicking, and moving the selection up or down. If I click the 3 dots, because we have a drop-down, I have an additional choice here. I can choose to shuffle the option order, which will make these randomized. Let's do one more. This is going to be a required checkbox at the very end of the form that acts as a signature confirmation. So I'll click the plus sign. And instead of multiple choice, I'm going to choose checkbox. I'll call this one confirmation. I'm going to type in a sentence for the option. Finally, I'm going to make this one required. I can scroll all the way to the top and look at my questions. I can rearrange any of them by hovering my mouse over these 6 grid dots and moving and dragging that question. Because of this, I recommend going through and adding all of your questions in, no matter if you weren't sure where they're going to go in your survey.